but it's chaos. It's constant chaos. There's no systemization. You're working all these long hours trying to fulfill. Within a year and a half, less than 2 years, I was able to fix my business, and then I sold that IT company.
Mac Attram.
Mac Attram is the founder and CEO of MindSpace Business Growth,
which grew out of the desire to help business owners achieve their financial and lifestyle goals.
just as he has and continues to do.
And when I become financially successful, I'm going to commit and dedicate the rest of my entire life helping as many people around the world have exactly the same thing. Whoever has the brightest idea in this moment is now the leader. Every time I come to One Club, I meet some amazing people. Those relationships continue to build. So I'm grateful for the One Club.
Thank you so much for coming to Mr. Fogg's. Mr. Fogg's, we love this place. This is our third event here, and Charlie Jilks, the founder, is one of our ambassadors as well. So super, super honored to be here and have Mac Attram and you guys. Just a quick intro to Mac. I've known Mac for a little while. Before I do the intro, personally, Mac is one of my favorite guys in the world. The reason for that is because what he's built so far is not because he's tried this and that and tried to get connive. Is nothing like that at all. It's purely because he's a really good person and he connects with people in the most genuine way possible, and he's his most authentic self. And a lot of you guys that know me, I'm massive on authenticity. So someone like Mac in my life is an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much for being in my life. What Mac is famous for, he's famous for helping founders and business owners to rapidly increase their sales revenue between 20 and 100% in less than a year. He's the founder and CEO of MindSpace Coaching and leading business growth expert, international best-selling author, entrepreneur, investor, and international speaker. Mac has many years of challenges and failures in business before discovering what really works for him. His tenacity and over 40 years of martial arts practice, which we'll be going over a little bit, helped him stay focused and disciplined, a trait he takes into all areas of life, including business. He is an entrepreneur who has developed and sold several profitable companies. He has been featured as an expert advisor in TV, newspapers, and magazines. He was previously awarded the Executive Coach of the Year and Global Man of the Year in the UK. Well deserved. Great to have you here, Mac.
Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Wonderful introduction. Thank you, Hamza.
No problem at all. So just to jump in, early life, how was that? How were you like as a kid?
Straight in. I was born in a country called Ghana. In the year I was born, my father had an opportunity to move to the UK, which he took. I didn't go with him, obviously, and I was raised by my grandmother. And I first met my parents when I was 9 years of age. I lived with my grandmother for several years. She was getting older, and we were asked to go and live with my uncle. And so at the age of 9, moved to the UK, new country, new people. I had to learn how to speak English properly, otherwise there's a lot of bullying. So I was bullied a lot. But I managed to settle down, and one of the bullying stopped when I took up martial arts. One of the schools I went to, there's a judo instructor. Afternoons I'll go and do that, and it kind of saved me, because then the bullying stopped, people stopped picking on me, and it helped me develop my confidence as well.
Was that more self-defense or?
Yeah, it's literally self-defense. In the area I was raised in South London, it was pretty rough back in those days, and people would chase me to beat me up for various reasons. Maybe wrong place, right place, wrong time, whatever it is, color of my skin, all this kind of stuff. So it's pretty rough. And the school I went to as well, which no longer exists, has been shut down. It was shut down the year after I left, and it was underperforming. My teachers told me I would be a failure. I mean, outright, you're going to fail in life. And a lot of my friends back in those days actually believed those words. And they fell into different situations, different vices, got into trouble a lot with the law, this kind of stuff. Some of them are no longer with us because they believe that. And I'm so grateful I had parents who were very, I can say they were disciplined, but they wanted the best out of their children. So we weren't allowed to associate with certain ways of being and language and swearing and all this kind of stuff. So that really helped.
What was one of the most important things that your parents taught you that you pass on to your children?
I think one of the most important things was about people. Treat people decently, because you never know when you're going to meet them again. So always treat people with respect and decency. And I think I've carried that with me. And I'm generally a carer of people. I do love associating people, being with people, helping people to achieve what they want to achieve in life.
Martial arts, what did that do to your mindset? How did it change?
I think it created a lot of discipline for me. I'll give you a story. Many years ago, I found myself in a place where I'd worked for 3 major companies when I graduated. After the 3rd company, I decided enough is enough. I want to start my own thing, do my own, have my own business. So I started that business. After a number of years, I realized things weren't going the right way. Cash flow was hard. And I had 2 business partners who were involved in the business. They cheated and siphoned a lot of money out of the business, which I didn't realize till later on. And then they disappeared. Now creditors are chasing me for more than 100 grand. So I now borrow money on credit cards, get loans to make sure I can pay my staff. It's this small IT company that I had. Make sure I can pay my staff, look after my family. And the whole thing became a big burden on me. I remember one evening driving back home, and my office was in North London. How many of you know Edmonton, Enfield area? Yeah, Ponders End. My office was in Ponders End. And I live in West London. That A406, A40, it's like an hour and a half on that journey. But 5 minutes from my home one evening, I remember stopping my car in the shopping centre car park. I parked my car and I sat there with my hands on the wheel, just sobbing, feeling sorry for myself, thinking, I'm such a failure. I'm over 100 grand in debt. I'm hardly at home. I'm working 19 hours a day, 20 hours a day, little sleep. My health is deteriorating. My doctors have said, you've got to slow down. Your blood pressure is rising. And this is a time, Hamza, where my wife is pregnant with our 2nd child. I have 3 children. And a few short years had gone by where I was hardly at home. Didn't see much of my 1st child. Now this 2nd child is coming on board, and I'm just feeling like a failure. And as I sat there in that car, feeling sorry for myself, and all the language was going through my head, I'm such a failure. How did I get here? How did I get here where my business is failing? My wife and I are constantly arguing. Looks like she wants to leave because I'm never around anyway. And that evening, it was all a blur when I got home. But I remember maybe the next day, all I could think of was, how do successful people do business? How do they create successful businesses? Do they become wealthy? How are they happy? I see this Sunday rich list. How do they do that? And I realized I've got to go and learn how to turn my life around. So I started attending seminars and workshops. And within a year and a half, less than 2 years, I was able to fix my business. And then I sold that IT company after I fixed all the bits that was wrong with it. And then I started so here's my lesson. Here's a point I want to make. The reason that what got me to fix the business is the gaps in knowledge that I didn't have, but someone else had. So whether it's coaches or mentors or seminars or consultants that I brought on board. But what I realized that in my life, martial arts has always been a theme that had been running through. And I'm a 6-dan black belt in Taekwondo. I'm a former UK champion. I'm a London champion. And that was since school. And even into my 30s, I was still a champion. But I realized I was succeeding in martial arts. But in my marriage, in my money, in my business, you guessed it. So in hindsight, when I started thinking about it, it was because I had a sensei, because I had a martial arts teacher who was kicking my butt, making me do the stuff and watching for my weaknesses and things that weren't, so what if I apply the same thing to life and business? And literally that's what I did, from being broke to making millions, from being in a very poor relationship to being now married. I've been with my wife now, we've been together for 27 years, married to this year, 24 years we've been married. And that is because I got advice and help from people who knew better, who can give me the information on how to be. So the lesson I learned from that was anything that I'm struggling with, get help, get support, get people who know how to do it, been there before, and already on that track. And so that was a big lesson for me.
And how do you pick the right coach?
I think for me, it's about resonance. It's about vibration. It's about energy. And there's lots of coaches I've met in the past that I really don't want to associate with because they are. Because imagine having experience of people cheating on you, not helping you in the right way. So I'm very sensitive to energy. Certain energies detract me, and other energies attract me. You know, I resist certain things. So I'm at a place where I don't listen to what people say. I watch how they move, because talk is cheap, right? I was saying that to Constantine and George at the back there, that talk is cheap, right? People talk a lot, but do they produce? And where's the evidence? So I'm very careful who I associate with these days.
Just to go back a little bit, when you said applying the same things as martial arts into life, nowadays there's YouTube. There's so much more avenues you can take to find the right information. So if you were in the times of now, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, so, okay, so there's a lot of information available for free right now. So why aren't more people successful to the level they want? Why aren't more people rich to the level they want? Why aren't more people happy to the level they want? Because there's one thing having the information, and then there's something totally different in terms of applying that information. That information then becomes knowledge. In other words, know-how. You can have the information and people say, yeah, I know how to do that. Really? If you are living it, then you know it. If you're not living it, you don't know it. You've watched it on TikTok. You watched it on YouTube. You watched it in Instagram. You've read a book about it. You've heard someone's podcast. But are you really living it? And if you're living it, then you know it.
I always say, if you get the right information and you think that knowledge is powerful, get an accountability coach.
Yeah, an accountability coach will, exactly the same thing I'm saying, that so if you can find someone who can kick your butt in a very loving, supportive way, you can actually thrive, move forward much faster. And nowadays, and sometimes, Hamza, you have to pay for that accountability. Because when your skin is in the game, now there's something to show up for. When the information is free, people don't really value it. When there's a price on it and they take their money out of their pocket and put it towards it, now they start taking action. And that's my experience.
Okay, and once you applied that, what were some of the early successes you had once you did?
Some of the early successes I had was fixing my business in a way that the big issue I had at the time was with people, not managing people properly. And I had a teacher called Blair Singer who taught me how to, he's got a concept called a code of honor. And he said when people are involved in a team, often there is chaos. And what you need to set up is certain rules, and he calls it a code of honor. A code of honor is a set of rules that govern the behavior of people, of individuals on a team. And in the absence of rules on a team, what happens? Chaos, anarchy. And this is the important thing he said to me. He said, without a strong code of honor, which is a strong set of rules, people make up their own rules. And so in the office I had in Enfield, where people would turn up late and think it's okay, or swear at customers and think it's okay. No. So we put these things in. I started fixing my people issues. I started to, just galvanize everything together, got it working the way I'd want it, automated it, and then sold that business.
Awesome. And what was your next business?
My next business I went into real estate.
So in the early days of my real estate journey, we were just investing in single units, houses, flats. And in the last few years, we've been now building apartment blocks and houses around London. So,
is that commercial to residential, or?
It is ground from land up, and then commercial to residential conversions. as well. So those are the two strategies we're using.
What's the best advice you can give in property?
For me, the strategy I use is, and I've used from day one, is every property that we own has to, one, cash flow, and two, and also has to capital appreciate. And so those are the strategies we use. And so my advice is, if you're getting involved in real estate property, do your very best to work out all your numbers so that you are in the money, as I say. So in the early days, I wouldn't buy things at the market rental price. I just wouldn't. I would always buy it at a discounted 20%, 25%, and they were available in those days. And nowadays, when I'm developing on land and building apartments, again, same thing applies. How much am I getting this land for? How much is the development cost? All this kind of stuff. How much profit am I going to make? And all my properties are not for sale. It's long-term hold, which just compounds my wealth. Year after year, just compounds my wealth.
And have you got any partners as well?
We've only started bringing partners on recently. Up to now, it's been my wife and I running that organization. And so, in answer to your question, the property company, and because so that's the business I went into. Within 18 months, so take it this way, I was struggling in my business, fixed that business, sold that business, started investing in real estate, and within 18 months, I was able to have enough cash flow coming through the properties that my wife and I never have to work again. This was 2006, 2007, so 18 years ago, right? So I've really never worried about. So everything I do. So I created an education company not too long after that. And I'll tell you why. When I was struggling and things weren't going right for me, and I was looking for answers, and I would go to different seminars, different events, have different coaches, different mentors, and I was able to turn my life around, business around, money around. And I remember just one day just praying, looking for a way out. And some of the words that were going through my mind in that time was, God, just show me the way. Please help me. Show me the way. And when I become financially successful, I'm going to commit and dedicate the rest of my entire life helping as many people around the world have exactly the same thing,
which is more success to the level they want, more happiness, more money, more wealth. And that's what I've been doing for the last 18 years or so. And when I sold my business and I started investing in real estate, didn't have to worry about money. I remembered that vow that I'd made.
Then I said, okay, I don't have to work. I'm not struggling for money. What am I supposed to do in my life? This was a time when I took a year out. And I really, every Friday walking around a supermarket like this, and then it came to me that I've got to help people. And so I wrote down what I believe my purpose and mission is. And it became very clear that for the rest of my life, it's to inspire, educate, and empower people to live a life of joy, courage, passion, and purpose. And so how am I going to do that? How am I going to inspire people, educate people, and empower people? And that turned into writing best-selling books, turned into, in the last 18 years, I've traveled to over 50 countries, trained and coached over 200,000 people in those countries, many more when it comes to my podcasts, and just helping and speaking to people to help them to just move to their next level, whether that's in business, money, wealth, or life.
And what's some of the struggles that you see with entrepreneurs?
I think the best way to put it is Michael Gerber wrote a book called The E-Myth. Anyone come across The E-Myth? Right. So, and he said the problem is that most entrepreneurs are what he calls technicians having an entrepreneurial seizure. So they think, so for example, the way he puts it is this person's a good baker, great at baking cakes and baking bread, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, do all this stuff. Suddenly they realize, I think I can be a better baker. I can have a better bakery shop than my boss. So they set up this bakery and realize they don't know much about marketing. sales, customer service, all the systems. So when he says you're having an entrepreneurial seizure, in other words, you really don't understand the mechanics around business. It's not just about baking the thing. How are you going to market? How are you going to sell it? Who's going to buy it? And so this is what I found, that some people know what they're doing. They're very good at creating the thing. But now, how are you going to build a business out of it? And so you can have the idea, you can have the concept, you can launch it, but is it going to succeed? And there's an entrepreneurial journey that I can talk you through in a moment, if that helps people here, that I developed and I've witnessed and I share with people. So when you get into business and you've launched this product, nobody knows you, and nobody really cares that you've got this amazing thing. Cash flow is what? Cash flow is zero, right? Cash flow is non-existent. But what are you going to do? You've got to persevere and find people to test and say, oh yeah, I've used this, it's great. So get some case studies, get some testimonials, get some social proof, take it to the market, and keep doing that. And at some point you move from what we call invisible to step 2, which we call chaotic business activities. And at chaotic business activities, you're still trying to figure things out. You've got a customer, you're working with the customer, you're helping the customer, you're fulfilling their order, you've got another one, but it's chaos. It's constant chaos. There's no systemization. You're working all these long hours trying to fulfill. And then at some point, you move to a place we call emerging player, stage 3. And stage 3 of the emerging player is now you've realized that you can't sustain this working long hours to look after these customers and fulfill them. You can't sustain it. So you start bringing in the right team members, hiring the right talent, start to look at how do I put some processes in place. And so from there, if you can't stabilize that down, you move to what we call client abundance. And the client abundance is great because any client that you know how to do lead generation, you know how to bring these people through, and you have a sales team who can close, you've got the operations team who can really fulfill, and you've got an accounting team who can take care of the numbers and manage the cash flow and the money. This is a great place to be because now you're getting into a place where your business is kind of almost running without you. And then stage 5, which we call market dominance, is where you are now the big player in your niche. You are the big fish in that pond. In your niche, you are now recognized as the person to go to for that problem that needs to be solved. Your company is the one to go to. That you're getting the referrals. You're the one getting invited to the association talks. You're the one getting invited to FSB to go and talk about what you do and helping other people. You're getting referred. So this place is a great place to be. Market dominance, and you make a good name for yourself. That down. Your company doesn't, your business doesn't need you. Now, what can you do? Well, at this stage, you can diversify into other businesses. You can invest in other businesses. You can franchise, whatever it is, right? Because this unit is working well. And the mistake people make, most entrepreneurs make, is they start this business, it's crawling. It's not even running yet. And then they have another entrepreneurial seizure. And they start something else. And now they're trying to run this one, and nothing's really moving. Nothing's really going the right way. Anyone know what I'm talking about here, right? And so what happens is they get to chaotic business activities or sometimes emerging player, stage 2 or stage 3. They're not even at stage 5 yet. And then they start something else. So that's a big problem. If you don't get all these processes, systems, the right team in place, it will be a struggle. And I've been there.
Have you ever come across a business or an entrepreneur that gets to a point where they no longer are able to execute what they initially thought, but somebody else could probably do better, but they don't know how to get that new person in?
Yeah, and at different stages, you have to realize that maybe, because there's a different entrepreneurial business owner traits or personalities, maybe you are the one that can start something, get the vision ignited and get people buying into that. And at some stage, once everything is up and running, maybe you're not the one to police it and manage it. Maybe someone else needs to come in at that stage to do that. So at different levels, there's different personalities that can come in and take the business to the next level if you're willing and open to allow that to happen. But some people sit in chaos for 10 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. We've no idea as to, actually, this could be much better. It could be scaled if, I think, is it Simon? Like Simon does automation, right? So if you can get these things automated, it makes your life easier. Does it take time? Yeah. Is it hard? Yeah, if you've got help and support, it could be easier, but trying to figure out yourself, it is hard.
MindSpace coaching, how did that come about?
Yeah, MindSpace coaching was birthed from, as I said, my desire and my mission and my purpose to help small business owners to grow and scale. Yeah, and so that's been, so it had a different name before, but that kind of business I've been doing for about 18 years now.
Awesome. And you're known to increase sales by 20% to about 100%, probably some of them much, much more than that. How do you do that?
Yeah, good question. So a lot of our clients in the expert space, coaches, consultants, professionals, and often they are the baker, as I said. They can bake the bread, but they can't really build a business. So when I come in and we start showing them exactly what to do around their sales, their marketing, putting their teams in place, start to remove themselves, because often they are the hindrance. They are the one in the way, and start managing their teams to do much better. So we quickly get them to set up what we call a dashboard, and that dashboard tells us all their numbers. And those numbers tells us if they are activating and doing the things that they supposed, and their teams are supposed to be doing each day. And here's the thing, they are here and they want to be here. All right, I'll give you an example of our client Anna. So Anna her business was doing 200,000 and stuck for years on 200,000. So how did she get to 1.5 million in sales revenue every year? Well, dashboard, getting the entrepreneurial mindset right. In other words, some people have an employee mindset when they're trying to run as an entrepreneur, and it doesn't work. What's the difference between an employee mindset and an entrepreneurial mindset? Well, the employee doesn't want to take risk often. They want safety. They want to turn up from this hour to this hour and get paid at the end of the month. Well, the entrepreneur will take risk and calculated risk, knowing that every day is going to be different and every day is not going to be the same. And getting that right. And the true business owner is one who says, okay, this is not just about me anymore. This is about putting the right systems and processes in place and getting my team, my talent, to actually deliver on those things. So if I've got the right team, the right systems, I've just got to manage that whole process, set the strategic vision, the direction where we're going, and lead the team in a more effective way. And if you don't do that, so people say, I have a business, I've been in business 20 years. And I say, okay, do you really have a business? Let's check it out. If you weren't able to come to your business or work, or if you weren't able to, let's say something happened to you, you're in hospital for 9 months, what happens to your business? Oh, okay. So when I see that eyes go, that's when I realize they just got it. You don't have a business. You have another job that you've created. So there's a difference between the self-employed mentality, the employee mentality, and then the true business owner mentality. So we take people from employee to or self-employed to having a true business owner mentality so that they can grow their business, scale their business. And essentially what makes us different from other business coaches is we're helping you build your business as an asset. That asset still runs whether you're there or not. That still pays you whether you're there or not. You can continue scaling it, or you can start another venture if you need to.
And when you go through this journey with these entrepreneurs and these businesses, are you more focused on performance or the tools they use or key players? Because sometimes where I am in my life, I've started mentoring and then helping small businesses get to the next level. And a lot of the times, especially with the little experience that I have, there's founders that can sabotage the business, and there's also key players that could potentially sabotage the business that would need to go, but they just don't know how to fire them. So what do you focus on? Like, is it just mindset, or is it the tools and the...
There's a whole raft of things that we take these entrepreneurs through. So it's not just mindset. We're known for mindset because it's the blockage in the mind that holds a business back. But we've got tools, like I said, we mentioned the dashboards that you're going to do. We've got roadmaps that they know they're going to follow. If they follow it, this is where they're going to be. And I mentioned, when it comes to teams, I mentioned Code of Honor. And we teach about how to hire the right talent, how to bring them on board, how to onboard them, how to create a culture as a leader that people want to work in this organization. So where in my first business, I'd staff and I'd business partners who were behaving badly because there was no rules. Every business that I start up, and I've started several businesses, I've sold them. All my businesses currently, there is a strong code of honor. In other words, and a code of honor for me is an extension of values. We all have values, things that are important to us. So for me, honesty, loyalty, these kind of things are integrity, they're all important to me. But someone might, without knowing it or saying it, their values might be greed and dishonesty, and they just behave that way because that's what they've always done. So a strong code of honor says, okay, these are the rules that we will live by. And that stops the backstabbing, the gossiping, and the cheating, because when you notice it, you remind them. And I teach my clients to do exactly the same thing. When you notice bad behavior, call it out and discuss it so you can nip it in the bud. That improves the culture of the business and everyone can see what's going on. Otherwise, what people do, Hamza, is this. Imagine we're all part of the same company, right? And every Monday morning, we get together at 9 a.m. Every Monday morning, 9 a.m. And one day, somebody strolls in late, 9:15, nobody says anything. Next week, somebody else strolls in late, nobody says anything. And this is lateness, and nobody does anything. What eventually happens to the culture of that business in regards to turning up on time and lateness? It goes downhill. And that's not even talking about the backstabbing, the gossiping, and all these other things, these bad negative behaviors. And if you think about it, any team that you've been involved with, there's been people that you love working with. And there have been people who behave in a certain way you think, wow, I don't really like that. I don't like that kind of behavior. So the Code of Honor addresses all of that, and everyone plays by the same song sheet, if I can put it that way.
What's one of the biggest traits of a key player, of a person that you want in your business?
What we call an A player. Yeah. So an A player, so I do my very best when recruiting to recruit what we call an A player. And an A player, they're already good at what they do. But when we recruit them, and I teach my clients to recruit A players, is you're recruiting on attitude. And then that attitude, I'm talking about that positivity, that can-do way of doing things, they can bring that into your organization. But that attitude says, okay, I'm going to follow your systems, your processes. And that gets the ego out of the way. And why is it best to employ A players? And yes, they're not the cheapest, but they will get things done the most efficient way, and they will go the extra mile and never give up. Whereas you can get a C player, if you like, who maybe is cheaper, but they'll give you a headache every single day, every single week. Whereas an A player will find a solution and bring you the solution. And that's what I focus on doing.
And does those A players ultimately become leaders?
Not all of them. Some can be. I've recruited people into sales, for example, and they're very good at sales. Very good at sales. But then trying to make them a sales manager takes time in terms of now developing their leadership ability. They can be, but not necessarily. Sometimes some people don't want to lead others. They just like doing what they're doing. So it can be, but you have to develop that skill into it.
And to be a leader, what kind of leadership skills do you have to have?
For me, what I look for is someone who is caring, listens, drop the ego, and actually, where does this team need to go, and how can I get them there? And there is a time for being direct, and there's a time for, I'll put it this way, one of the things I teach in my boot camp is this. And I tell them this, that there's a company called Federal Express. How many of you have heard of Federal Express? Right, and Federal Express has this, has this saying that whoever has the brightest idea in this moment is now the leader. Whoever has the brightest idea in this moment is now the leader. What does that mean? It means that we're working on a project, and maybe I am seen as the leader, but if somebody else says, hey, by the way, if we do it this way, oh, okay. So I've got to be ready to what? Subordinate, step back, and allow, whether that's for 10 minutes, half an hour, a day, let this person lead us where we need to go. So in terms of leadership skills, I'm looking for people who are proactive, loyal, caring, supportive of their team members.
Awesome. I want to come back to you, Mac, yourself. What's some of your daily habits that you do? Because I know you're quite involved in the health and wellness side as well. You like to look after yourself. Tell me a little bit about your daily habits and how important the health and wellness is for you.
Thank you. So I'm at the age of 54 now. And yeah, people look at 54, are you? Yeah, thank you. And at 54, I'm still practicing martial arts. I'm still able to keep up with my kids. So thank you, Constantine. My eldest is 23 years of age, Tiana. She's a performer, dancer, actress. And then we have Destiny, who's 19 years of age, studying psychology at uni. Then we have Brandon, who's just become a European champion last weekend in Taekwondo. He became a European champion. So they're doing all these activities. And for me, I've got to keep up with them. There was a time, Hamza, when probably about 20 years ago, as I said, I was getting tired. 15 years, I was getting tired constantly. Why am I tired? Why am I tired? And I realized it was to do with the way I was living. The people I surrounded myself with, who were quite negative, the food I was eating. So these days, I drink very little alcohol, very, very little alcohol. I look after myself physically. I'm very careful of the information that I'm consuming. So I don't watch much news. If something disastrous happens, somebody will tell me. So I keep myself where I'm going rather than the programming that the TV or the media want to take me. I have certain habits. So every morning when I wake up, okay, so about 8 years ago, I'd cut out certain foods from my diet, and then about 8-9 years ago, I became a total pure plant-based eater, plant-based vegan. So why? Because it suited my body. I'm not saying everyone needs to do that, but it's just the way I eat, which vibrationally keeps me energetic. I don't feel so lethargic. I don't eat cheese and dairy products and meat and chicken and fish. And if you said to me years ago that, Mac, you'll stop eating chicken, I'd say, Hamza, are you crazy? Chicken? Right? But I don't miss it. So one of my highest values is my health. We're not here forever. And whilst I'm here, I want to look after this body and let the body do what it needs to do. Every single month, I will be traveling to one country or another, and I speak in front of thousands of people, sometimes for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. And I've got to have enough energy to be able to deliver from 9 a.m. till 9 or 10 p.m. at night.
And how is your energy levels compared to what you were like before? Is it steady the whole way through the day, or it fluctuates?
No. It's very steady right the way through, because one, I love doing what I'm doing. Two, I eat foods that gives me energy. And my morning routine, when I wake up in the morning, I have certain routines that I follow. And for me, I pray. Gratitude for me is so important because I believe my life is the way it is, not by accident. I think some kind of purpose. And so then I write down all my gratitude, the things that I'm grateful for, I write them down. It's about 10 of them today. And then I get on my, and then I get on my rebounder. I've got this rebounder, I rebound, right? You know, just little trampoline, I rebound. Why? Because of the, because it just starts cleaning the lymphatic system. And then I do my martial arts practice, getting myself prepared. Then I meditate. And my day has started. And then it's a glass of warm water with ginger, turmeric, and lemon, cleanse out my body. And I usually don't eat anything till about midday or 1 p.m. And that's usually a green juice with green vegetables and giving my body the nutrients it needs first thing, rather than the greasy food that it really can't digest. And we've been taught to eat in a certain way, but nutritionally, does it really help? So that's just me, but it's not for everyone, I'm sure.
And that Mac that focuses on health and wellness, is that Mac for you more important and number one than the business Mac?
Yeah, because without my health, there is no business. And so without my health, there is no family. Without my health, there is no happiness. Without my health, there is not a lot. So in good health, I can achieve other things, and I can live a more purposeful, more fulfilling, more rewarding life. But that's just my choice.
Awesome. What does the next few years or the next decade look like for MindSpace coaching?
Yeah, so we have two main businesses: a real estate, property business, all systemized, going well, building apartments and houses, which is fine. The education business is more my purpose, my mission. So for me, it's doing more of that. And I made I wrote down a vision, which was to train and coach over 1 million people in 10 years.
Where are you now?
200,000. So I've got a lot of work to do. So when Vicky and the One Club and yourself says, hey, Mac, come and do the redefine. Yeah, look, does it fit my mission? Does it fit my vision? Yes, it does. I'll show up. Although the day's been crazy busy. This week's been crazy busy. And so I'm glad I'm here. I'm here living my mission and a purpose and, hopefully making a difference. And if someone picks up one little thing and it helps them, great.
Awesome. What advice would you give? Because One Club is made out of 3 different tiers, of course. Aspiring and new entrepreneurs, and NVIDIA members who are more seasoned entrepreneurs, people who's exited business and the cool stuff, and where you are in the Vichy tier, which is ambassadors. So if you were to give advice across the board, what would you say?
I think one big thing I've learned in business is about association. Who are you associating with purposefully? Because you can meet people randomly, but who are you associating with purposefully? And so those associations that I've made over the last 15, 16, 17 years, they just keep replaying. They keep introducing me to other people. And I may not speak to them for 3 years, and suddenly they've introduced me to someone else, or I've introduced. It's just good relationships has helped me a great deal in business. And when One Club, how long have I been a member? 2 years or so?
For about 2 years, yeah.
2 years. When One Club came, and I thought, and just like Ayo at the back here, Ayo and Cameron, they said, I said, how do you know One Club? Oh, LinkedIn. It was the same thing. LinkedIn thing came up, and I thought, wow, let me go and check this out. And then I met you, and I met Akshay, and met a few of you. I thought, yeah, I like the concept of this, and I like the people behind it.
Can I tell the story around the first conversation we had? When Mac sat down with us, he said, okay, the community is one thing, and he's been involved in communities, and the private members club is also great, but I want to know who the team is behind it. what do you guys do? He wants to understand how true we were, if we were good human beings, if we were in the right direction. And I think that's what really...
Yeah, that's what won it over for me. And so it was good to meet you guys, because in my 25 years of being an entrepreneur, or being in business, yes, I've been involved in many, many groups. I've set up many groups myself. I've been involved in BNI. I used to create different business groups around London. And so for me, having been involved in so many different associations, and in one club, and I came and checked it out, I thought, okay, because I could sense very quickly if this is for me or not, very quickly, because I've seen the good, the bad, and the very, very ugly, right? And every time I come to one club, I meet some amazing people, and those relationships continue to build. So I'm grateful for the One Club.
And you've been involved in so many communities, including the One Club. How do you keep up with so many people? It's like being who I am as a memberships director. We've got 400 members, and in the wider community, we've got like 3,000 people. I speak to people every single day, and I always try and remember their full name, so if I forget their last name, I remember their first name. But how do you keep up? What's one advice you would give to me, and also to everybody else?
I think if you... also for who?
And for everybody else.
So I think for me, in the very early days of networking, I'd meet people, and people will shove their business cards at me, and I'll take it and, really do nothing with it. But over years of experience, it's about the deep connection. So if I meet you and we say, let's meet for a coffee or dinner or whatever, or let's have a chat on Zoom or have a call, then my job is to follow through. And so whoever I meet, I will follow through on that. And if something comes out of it, great. If someone I can refer them to, or I can help them, or I can recommend, great. If something they can do for me, great. And Dr. Ivan Meisner, who's the founder of Business Network International, BNI, which is the largest networking group in the world, very, very big organization. He said this: whoever you're speaking to, whenever you're speaking to them in a business context, whoever you're speaking to either needs your support, your help, or needs your business now, or they may need it in the near future, or someone they know may need your support, help, or your business. So I don't take that lightly when I'm speaking to someone, thinking, who do I know who I can connect this person to? Who do I know that can do something with this person, or they can do something together? And that's part of building that relationship, because by introducing that person to that person, do they trust me more? Because it's not just about me now. It's not just I want your money. It's like I'm trying to help you somehow, and eventually you may want to help me, and that's worked for me for many, many years now.
Awesome. I want to go towards public speaking. I mean,
Sure.
you have sold out arenas and different places at like 400 to like 5,000 people. I think it's even more than that. Tell me about the first time you went on stage and how different that is to where you are now.
Okay. Good question. I think when first time I was on stage, maybe it wasn't even a stage. There was no stage. I was speaking in front of about 10 or 15 people. And with my mission behind me that I want to help people, I delivered. And if I watch videos back in those days, it was like, who's this guy? It was terrible. It was terrible. But what I realized over years is that every master was once what? A disaster. And so as I continue, and then I speak, I've had the pleasure of sharing the stage with some amazing, amazing people. Eric Thomas, the hip-hop preacher, Anthony Robbins. I just did a tour, was it June? Yeah, June. I did a tour around South Africa and Kenya with Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki was one of my heroes, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so these are kind of levels that I'm speaking at. And so now some people say, hey, Mac, you're a good speaker. So, I don't know. I just deliver value. I just help the best I can.
Is there any techniques?
Yeah, there's always techniques you can learn. But you can learn techniques, and if you don't practice, nothing comes out of it. So mastery comes with repetition. Mastery comes through repetition. And I learned that through martial arts. So in the days when I started as a white belt, and we do certain punches again and again and again, and my arms weren't that strong, I don't think. But now you put some bricks or several pieces of wood, and my hand just goes through it like butter. But that's through repetition. And the same thing we can do with speaking, with marketing, with sales. We repeat, we go again, we go again, we go again. And so for speaking, and this is a different environment, this is very much an interview. But when I'm really speaking and the room just, there's certain things I do that gets people off their seats and they're going
I've
crazy.
been there, very interactive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so, so just repetition to mastery.
Awesome. Before I open it up to the audience to ask questions, one final advice to everybody based on where we are right now with all the information out there, with so much misinformation, too much information, right information, wrong information. Where should people start? And just general advice.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 fundamental principles of success which we teach our clients. 5. And I'll do that very quickly because when I look at the successes I've created in all areas of my life, whether it's money, wealth, business, family, relationship, the same principles apply. That's why I came up with, I've written 4 best-selling books. And one of my books is a business book, which is called Face It and Fix It. With the first week of launch, we sold 36,000 copies of this book. Became a #1 international bestseller on Amazon. It's a business book, how to turn around your business and fix your business. Anyone want this book? Anyone want a book? It's yours. You can have it. And then I also wrote a book called The Millionaire Moment. And The Millionaire Moment was that, that I talk about, it's very much a rags to riches story where I talk about the moment I was in the car, my hands on the wheel, crying, feeling sorry for myself. But it's my low point. Things weren't going right. What did I do to turn things around? And I talk about how our thoughts shape our financial destiny. And I talk about the science behind how the mind works, how the mind really works, that can pull you from failure to greater success. I talk about that in this book. Anyone want this book? Who wants it? You have to come and get it if you want it. Okay, there you go. It's yours. I can sign it for you at the end if you want. No problem at all. So here are the 5 fundamentals very quickly. I'm going to go in. I'll give you an order. Number one, I learned from a person called Les Brown. Anyone heard of Les Brown? And I've done international tours around the world with Les Brown as well. But this was in the last few years. But I studied with him, and when I was struggling, things weren't going right. The #1 principle that I remember, and I made this #1, is this. He said, if you want any level of success and you want to succeed at the highest level, you've got to be hungry. And he bellows from his stomach. It's like, wow, just this thing hit me in my ears. And I sat there thinking, hungry? Are you saying more than desire, more than passion, more than determination, more than persistence? Yes, hungry. And Eric Thomas says it differently. He says, when you want it as bad as you want to what? Breathe. When you want it as bad as you want to breathe. So if you want any level of success, how badly do you really want it? And what are you willing to do to get it? As long as it's legal, ethical, and morally the right thing. So that's #1. #2, with that hunger comes then you've got to develop a level of clarity. What's the success I want? What does that look like? Is it a percentage increase in business? Is it a monetary increase in business? Is it whatever it is? But get that level of clarity, write it down. This is what I want to achieve by this date. People call it a goal. And with that level of clarity, now you've got to focus on that. So #3 is focus. #1 is what? Hunger. #2 is what? Clarity. #3 is what? Focus. Because we live in a world now that there is so much information. And every minute of the day, we can easily get distracted. Every minute of the day. You know, somebody sends you something on WhatsApp, and it's a link to Instagram. You click it, and you just want to check this thing out. And suddenly you find yourself 15 minutes doing something you're not supposed to be doing, scrolling through other stuff. So there's so much distraction that if you're not careful and not focused on what you need to be doing, it becomes a big distraction. Number 4 is about taking action. And Anthony Robbins doesn't even say action. It says take massive action. So from focus, take massive action every single day towards that level of clarity, that goal that you set. Not little steps, but massive action. And number 5 is discipline. Can you discipline yourself in a way so much so that you can achieve the goal that you set? And most people, unfortunately, they don't have a level of discipline. In the martial arts, you've got to discipline yourself, because if you don't, you're going to get smacked in the face. And there's only so many smacks in the face you'll take before now you've got to realize, I've got to move a certain way. Same as in business. If you're not disciplined, someone is going to slap you in the face, whether it's the government, whether it's a client, canceling an order. So discipline, if you're not disciplined, which I wasn't many years ago, then get a coach, get a mentor who can hold you to account. Like you said, an accountability buddy, accountability coach, someone who can hold you to account. So now you're reporting to someone else rather than using a language some people use, which is tomorrow, mañana, right? No, let's get it done. Let's get it done now. And when you're reporting to someone else and you have to report your numbers and your actions, you're going to move forward much faster. And that's my experience. Those are the 5 fundamentals I've found for success.
Brilliant. Awesome. I'm going to open up to the audience. Does anybody have any questions? Let's go for Carlo.
First things first, thank you so much for a great presentation and talking to everyone.
Thank you.
So, my name's Carlo Weaver, and I run an edtech startup called Apprentigo. And what we do is we help businesses create apprenticeships, give more opportunities to young people. So, my question to you is, how can you get your business to function without you? Because I think it's really important, as I have run into a problem which I call the modern day CEO problem. Now, for example, this problem is that every CEO has to be the face of the brand and the social media manager. For example, Mr. Beast, the most successful YouTuber, I've watched every single one of his podcasts, said, I cannot get myself out on my videos, it doesn't work. He has 300 million subscribers. And I feel that this problem can also be an opportunity, as it keeps me close to my audience, which are hundreds of thousands of young people, because they see a face they relate to. I left school with 0 GCSEs, I faced homelessness, and I have autism. And I think that they see that, it brings relatability and a sense of feeling, you know what, he can do it, I can do it. However, that takes me away from daily tasks in my business. Now, as I approach scale, going from SEIS to launching, I can see it being a problem. So I would like to hear your thoughts, because this answer has probably changed in your time over the last 5 to 10 years.
Okay, thank you, Carlo. That's a great question, Carlo. So, Carlo, there are different types of entrepreneur. Nowadays, a lot of people are following the influencer entrepreneur. I'm from the old school. I follow the Richard Branson type entrepreneur. So at any given time, Richard Branson is running or is involved with or is overseeing 800 or more different projects and companies. Is he involved in all 800 projects and companies? No. He has 2 personal assistants who take orders, and they disseminate that information. So you've got to say to yourself, what type of entrepreneur do I want to be? Richard Branson's still the face, but he's not operational. Mr. Beast has chosen a path which suits him. You see, some people do certain things for the chemical release that it gives them. And when it comes to social media, that chemical release is what? Dopamine. And so as entrepreneurs, we are battling 2 major chemical releases in the body: dopamine and cortisol. Dopamine is that mood enhancer, that feel-good factor. Cortisol is that stress inducer, that stress element. Most people, we all want to move away from the stress and have that dopamine hit. So the question really is about what type of entrepreneur do you want to be? Because when I'm teaching my clients, you've got to make a decision. Okay, I'll give you I could put it another way. One of the exercises that we get them to do is an exercise called the vivid vision. And that vivid vision is like, take yourself 5 years from now into the future and see what you are doing. What do you want to be doing? And if you've already programmed yourself that, hey, I want to be that CEO who has a great team of people doing what they need to do. And I also see myself as the face. You can be the face, that's not a problem. I'm the face of my company, but I'm not involved operationally. I'm the face of my companies, but I'm not involved operationally, and my business is still run. Does that make sense? So if you want to be a Mr. Beast, influencer, entrepreneur, fine, no problem at all. It works for a lot of people, right? That's what you want. But if you're saying, look, I have a different notion, I have a different lifestyle. And the reason why I developed the lifestyle I have was really about not seeing my kids. I was working 19, 20 hours a day, not seeing my first child. I said, no, that can't happen anymore. When my wife's pregnant with our second child and I'm not around, I feel ashamed as a man. So that's why I created my businesses, and I teach people how to build assets rather than them being the main person who everything relies on. Does that make any sense, Carlo? That's a great mission to live by. And if it means, Carlo, that, look, you enjoy doing it, just do what you enjoy. If it makes you sleep and you're not battling cortisol, fine. If what you're doing is giving you what you want and where you want to be, just do more of it. Live that life. Make sense? Give Carlo a hand. Good job, Carlo. Very, very good. Very good question. Great question.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you very much. I think your presentation was absolutely amazing.
Thank you. What's your name?
I'm Sarita Charles Cole.
Sarita.
What you can do is make use of AI or some sort of AI or a digital twin. So you can use technologies that will give you still your face, your presence, but it'll allow you to do other things. So there are other technologies that you can make use of that will allow you still to have that online presence, but at the same time free you to do other things. Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Sarita.
Any other questions?
Hi. Firstly, thank you for such a vulnerable, authentic, and insightful chat. My question is, you mentioned after you exited your tech business, you fixed it and exited it, within a year and a half, you were able to set up a very successful property business that you said paid comfortably for your wife and your lifestyles, and then you could choose what to do, not just pay your bills, but to add value and create impact. How did you create that successful business model monetarily in just 1.5 years? Any secrets you're willing to
it's all the stuff that I teach. And I'll tell you what happened. Your name? Priya. Thank you, Priya. Priya, we're talking about a time, 2004, 2005, 2006. So 2004 was my low point, my breakdown. And so when I fixed my business and I sold that business, at the time, what was happening was we were in the early stage of the subprime mortgages. And in those days, the banks will give a mortgage to anyone. As long as you were breathing, you had a pulse. And so I was acquiring, at one point, we were acquiring 2 to 3 properties every single month with no money down. There was a whole system behind that. Made me a multi-millionaire. I mean, it was amazing. Because as we acquired these properties and we bought them at a discount, we rented them out very, very quickly. And we put a system behind it in terms of how we do our lead generation, how we do our sales calls, how we onboard new, can't call them clients, but the people who their homes were getting repossessed, they're going to face adverse credit, they were in a mess. So we were kind of their rescue team. So I teach a whole. So these days, any business I'm involved with, there's a whole system from end to end, and that system looks at. So if you're getting in the marketplace and you want more to be more visible, you want people to, you need to have a strong story, number one, and that story, number two, you're going to turn it into a strong strategy. When I say a strategy, I'm talking about a marketing strategy, and that strategy will draw people in if you've done right in terms of lead generation. And step three is going to be turning and converting those leads into sales. So story, strategy, sales. So sales conversion brings money, cash flow. From there, start looking at developing your systems for every area of your business. And number five is the structure that will deliver those systems. When I say structure, the legal entity, the talent, the team that you bring on board, and the processes they're going to follow. So I have a whole thing that we teach that get people to, in Carlo's case, to become free from their business if they want, or to rapidly grow and scale if you choose to. If you've got a process and system to follow, if you follow it, it makes it easier rather than guesswork. I've been through I've been through it and come out the other side. So it's my pleasure of helping people when they're moving fast towards a brick wall, say, hey, you might want to look at it this way, look at it this way, look at it this way. What do you want? So I don't know if that answers your question, Priya. It does? Yeah. Yeah, and here's my answer to that. This has been my journey, this has been my experience, this is what I've been through. And every entrepreneur will have their own story, will have their own journey, they'll have their own obstacles, they'll have their own victories, they'll have their own failures. And I share my story, one, because maybe to inspire somebody else to say, okay, it's not over, keep going. There is a way, get help, get support, there is a way. So get on that journey. Have you started your business yet? What business are you in? Travel? Private? Yeah. So get on that, go take big actions and see what happens. But your lessons from taking those big actions will set you up for your next level of elevation. It doesn't matter what anybody says, you're going to face something, but you've got to be prepared. Give you an example. See, I don't just talk this. The last time, I haven't been with the One Club because of some personal issues that were going on. So I haven't been here for about 6 months, 7 months. The last time I was here, I did another talk on something else. But the reason why I love coming to the One Club is because I think they make a difference. And the personal thing was, in December, my father passed away. Yeah, and it was sad. But when I look at it, I'd spent 18 months with him prior to him. Every week for 18 months, I'd go to his house. I'll take him to his hospital appointments. I'll take care of his finances. Dad, don't worry, taken care of. I'll take care of all that. So for 18 months. So if I had to be in my business all the time, that wouldn't work. So that's why I say to people, if you cannot be in your business, what happens to your business? Does that make sense? So I don't just talk it, I live it. And when my father went, and I'll tell you something, Priya, that he shared more with me in the last year of his life than he had in the entire 50 years or so of that I'd known him. I spent more time with him in those 18 months than I had in 30 years. It was a good thing. When he left peacefully. And I was grateful that I'd created an environment, a situation where I could just be with him. So you know what to do, Priya. You know what to do. Got it? Good job. Give Priya a big round of applause. You know what to do. All right? Thank you.
James?
Constantine. Oh, was it? Sorry, was that somebody else? You might have to get up. Oh, go ahead.
Hi there, my name is James.
Hi, James.
So my question to you is, you seem to have a system for almost everything.
Yeah.
And starting out, everything can be quite chaotic. What was your mindset shift to be able to get those systems in place and get some order in your life?
Yeah, I don't get me wrong, I was never a systems guy. I was a free soul, do whatever I like. Then when my life was failing and things weren't going right, and the only thing that was working well in my life was martial arts. And martial arts was a system. You turn up, you train. You say, you bow, you do, there's structure. But I didn't have that structure in other areas of my life. And so, do I like systems? No, I'm a free spirit. And I like to be free to do whatever I want. But what I've found is the systems that I've created actually gets me the results that I want. So I would suffer the systems short term to have the long term outcome that I really want. And so, does it come automatic? No. What do I need to improve in? What do I choose to improve in? Okay, now I'm going to practice as if I'm a white belt in martial arts again. I'm going to practice. I'm going to practice. And do I have down days? Yeah. I pick myself up after I've been hit, and I'll pick myself up, and I'll go again, and I'll go again. And I'll go. It's all practice. I'm not saying everything is perfect. My life is not perfect, because I'm going this way, and as I'm going this way, something else comes along and hits me now, and I've got to look at it. Okay, pick myself up, go again, go again, go again. So whatever result you want, create that system and be willing to practice that system until it becomes a habit. So my morning routine is a habit. I just do it. I don't even think about it. When I'm dealing with clients, it's a habit. But so anything new, I have to develop that muscle again. But in the end, it gets me the result that I really require. I don't know if that answers your question. You're what, a white belt? Yeah. And it's a principle I take in area. Learn to be a white belt again. Because is it going to be perfect? No. Are you going to fall down? Yeah. Are you going to make mistakes? Yes. But accept that it's okay. It's part of the learning process. Just like a child attempts to walk. Will that child fall down a few times? Yeah, guaranteed. Otherwise, it will not develop the muscle it needs to be able to walk properly and to eventually be able to run. And the research shows that in the past, where parents have attempted to force the child to walk too quickly, the child develops crickets in the legs, and the legs and the bones are not strong enough, and the legs bows when they walk like this. So we've got to develop the muscle and the bones to go on. So whatever you're working on, stick at it, keep going, practice, practice, practice.
Last two questions. I'll go to Constantine and then
Alex.
Alex.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hi. Constantine.
Guys, amazing. I mean, wow.
Thank you, Constantine.
I do have two questions for
Sure.
you. First of my question is about your vision about your business right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the second question is your idea how much, I don't know, you have the open door, 2, 3, 4, 5 mil. I'm in. Let me know.
I
Thank
didn't
you so
understand
much.
the
Thanks
second
to
question.
Hamza as well. Let's round of applause.
Oh, round of applause
for
to Hamza.
He's amazing.
He is good. Hamza is amazing.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Hamza is a good connector. I didn't get the questions.
So what is your vision for business right now, where you are right now? And then also for you to kind of open the doors for, is it investment or investment?
To invest in my business or invest in your business? You want to invest in my business?
Constantly as an investor.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay, good. So perfect, okay. So when you asked the question, am I open to partners? Now, I've only recently started talking to partners. So on my real estate business, we are looking at developing more real estate because one of the things we discovered as a company is that the government of the UK is not doing enough. So we want to develop more real estate to help people, affordable homes and have a nice place to live. On my education business, we can talk. I mean, we can talk. My vision. You need what?
Numbers.
Right. So look. So on the real estate property side, we want to grow that to more than 100 million. If you are interested in that, we can start, whatever you want to invest in and start scaling on that. On the education side, we're looking at going global to help a lot more people. Now, so 100 million on one side. On the education side, that is, for me, a more of a purpose-driven thing and helping people. So if I want to reach my goal of 1 million, if I want to reach that many people, there's only one of me. At the moment, I have coaches around the world who coach our clients. So I'd have to 100 times, 200 times, 1,000 times, a number of coaches around the world, so we can put numbers on that. We'll talk, yes? Oh, no, it's good.
I'll connect you guys.
This is the thing about One Club. If someone's willing to invest 5 million, it helps. Thank you, Constantine. We'll talk. Thank you.
I'm Alex Kay.
Hello,
I
Alex.
have created a couple of jobs for myself, which I'll now be saying that from now on. First of all, thank you so much. There's a lot of things that I really resonated with. So you mentioned that you work with coaches primarily, but you also work with small businesses.
We do.
So I just want to understand, obviously, small businesses don't have a lot of budget to work with coaches, probably especially of your caliber. So how does that work? And do you also work with other businesses that aren't coaching businesses?
Yeah, we just happen to have a lot of our clients are from the expert field. And so they have certain expertise, but we have clients from estate agency, we have chiropractors, we have dance studios, we have all these things, because the principle of business is business. So when we are targeting, we're very clear who we're targeting. But when others come, we don't turn them away. Can we help them? Yeah. Same processes that you're going to go through in order to create a business asset. So yeah, we work with, and not get it right. I'm not doing all the coaching. I probably coach about 4, probably 5 people. That is it. That's all I do. I don't have time to, but we have coaches around the world who coach our clients. And we have a whole system for that to make sure our clients are taken care of. They train by us. They qualify to a high status in order to be able to coach our clients. So yeah, we can help. What businesses are you in? What's it to? Car detailing. Yep. Yep. And a business consultancy support service as well. Yeah. Yeah, so when we say small business, we have clients who are probably around, we have some that are around 200,000, 300,000 a year. We have some around 10 million. So any scale, anywhere between that we work with. So some people look at 10 million and go, oh, is that a small business? It's still a small business in the UK. Well, speak to Mr. FSB. It's still a small business in the UK. So when I say small business, I'm not talking about, yeah. Look, here's the thing. Over 80% of the businesses here in the UK, in America as well, are small business, right? I've had an opportunity to work with large corporations, and I did work with them for a period of time. But often I just don't like the politics. I was hired by L'Oreal. You know L'Oreal? To go and train their salon owners, and I did that, and I trained them in various ways, customer service and leadership, and L'Oreal, no hair, me. And I remember going to Hammersmith, the Red Ken office in Hammersmith, many years ago, and they said, oh, we heard you're a good trainer, can you help our, yeah, okay. So, and before I left, after we signed the contracts and everything else, they gave me these 2 big bags. They said, this is for you, it's a gift. I looked at them, I said, what's this? They go, just our products, shampoo and conditioner. I said, I'm not going to use it. No, just take it, it's a gift. So, so I work with many different companies, but I've chosen the small business sector because I know what it's like to have a small business where you don't have the full support. You can't, if your business is not set up in a certain way, you can't call IT, you can't call someone else. You've got to figure it out or outsource it or something else. Yes, I know, I can resonate with that because I've been there and I've suffered it and I know how to turn that around. Does that make sense? All right. Your name again? Alex. Thank you, Alex. Give Alex a big round of applause. Thank you, Alex. Good job.
Thank you so much. Priya, did you?
Yeah, like I said earlier on, Priya said, who taught me how to turn my business around? Oh, yeah, I went to a lot of seminars, a lot of workshops. I read before my business started suffering. I remember my dad would, for years, he'll say, oh, read this book, read that book. And I'm just started my business, and he goes, oh, read this book. It's Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence. Read these books. And I was like, oh, yeah, Dad, okay, no problem. I know what I'm doing. And then when my business started going downhill, I started reading those books like crazy, right? Anything I could get my hand on success or business or wealth, I just read them like crazy. And then I went to so many workshops, seminars, and as I went, and also then meeting certain coaches, I had people coach me. And I've still got coaches who coach me, because I don't want to plateau. There was a time when, in my education business, I was very much focused on London, and I just did London seminars. Then it was UK. Then I thought, I think I'm bigger than that, and I think my mission is bigger than just London and the UK. And I said, from now on, only world class will do. And in that moment, I had to get someone who could get me to world-class level. Somebody coached me to be that. And now I speak globally, and I've done that in over 50 countries, trained over 200,000 people around the world. That's because I've got support and help. And I still have it now. Does that make sense? So don't try and do it yourself. Figure out or find someone or find the books or the seminars or the mentors who can help you.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Redefined podcast. We want to bring you the best stories from the top change makers across the globe. To make that possible, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening and leave a comment or review. It really is that simple. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you for the next episode.